Hello students and welcome to the week 1 folder in part 1 weeks 1 through 8 for physics A. Now you'll notice at the top of the weekly folder there is a week 1 overview, and again that is similar to the getting started folder, and you will see this in all of the weeks as you go through physics A. Now the overview is going to have this video, which you can see is missing because I'm making it, and it will also have objectives for the week. What are we going to be learning? And then on the very right, it has a list of assignments that you are going to need to do. So you'll notice there are 4 assignments listed here. And the point of this is to make sure you take them in order. So I would go in order for these weekly assignments in order to get the most out of it and build on your knowledge. Now with week 1, we don't dive into the textbook right away. We also don't dive into other resources right away. So I made it in terms of going in order to learn the material as you go. Now when we get into later weeks, there will be learning resources folders as well as online textbook pages and things that you're going to be reading. So make sure you keep an eye out for that, and you'll find that in the overview as well. Now with week 1, you'll have 4 assignments, and it's going to talk about the idea of the scientific method. We've gone over the scientific method probably numerous times in other science courses, and for most students they think of it in terms of a linear straight shot type of thing. With the scientific method and the way that we actually use it, it's more dynamic and it kind of has a roundabout method. So we're going to talk about that more with week 1, and then we're also going to talk about science in terms of not just the experiment, but what happens after. How do we get publications? How do we know whether articles are good or not? Things like that. So with week 1, again, you'll notice you have the table where you have it separated based on color. Blue, again, will tell you what the assignment is, why we're doing it, and how long it's going to take you. And then anything below that is going to give you basic instructions on how to get into the assignment, whether it's a journal, a discussion, a quiz, and then what you'll need to do as you get into that assignment. For the week 1 journal, The Times and Troubles of the Scientific Method, again, remember, hover to discover. The title is typically a link when it comes to assignments. And then I click on this tab and I open this. The week 1 journal is on the times and troubles of the scientific method, which is actually an Edpuzzle video that you will be watching. The material at the top is going to tell you how to complete the Edpuzzle video. Now the one thing you want to make sure is, again, that you have created your Edpuzzle account and that you're logged in. Now whether you're logged in Blackboard or in a separate tab in Edpuzzle doesn't matter. You just have to be logged in. If you need to log into Edpuzzle in a separate tab, you'll open that tab here and log into Edpuzzle on the side, and then you will simply just have to refresh this page by clicking on the address bar and enter, and then it will refresh based on you being logged in. Now I'm not logged in at the moment, so if I hit get started, it'll actually bring up a login piece for me, and that's what it'll do for you. And again, you might have to refresh. But the get started button is going to be how you get the video started, and it's going to go through pieces of the video and then ask you questions as you go. So make sure that you answer those questions because you can't skip them. And in order to complete the assignment, you have to go through the whole thing. And then if you want to watch the Edpuzzle video in terms of being in a larger format, that link is right here for you. And it opens in a separate window. You do have to be logged in. And then the thing that's going to make me aware that you finished this, because Edpuzzle doesn't send me any information whether or not you complete this. So in order to let me know that you have done this assignment, you have to click Create Journal Entry up in the top. And then you have to let me know that you completed this assignment following the instructions on the previous page. And you can simply put a title here. It could be Journal, nothing spectacular, and then type your answers into the entry. Or if you want to keep notes on a Word document, you can do Browse My Computer and attach a file that way. And then when you're ready, hit Post Entry. Again, remember blue, hover to discover, or blue is usually important. Now I'm going to cancel because I'm not putting in anything. And then right here it tells you exactly, tell me you have completed the video and question. So that way I know to go and grade your answers. So that's going to be the first assignment. Now the second assignment is a quiz. And again, if I click on that title link, It'll bring me into the quiz and I can hit continue. I entered this before, otherwise yours might say begin. But again, click the blue button and it'll bring you into the test itself. It's actually a quiz. Now it'll give you instructions, and then it also gives you a PDF file. Now I have the PDF file embedded for you if you want to read it this way, or you can click on the PDF file link at the top here, and that will actually open that file in a new tab and make it larger. So it depends on how you want to read it. And it's going to talk about the information as far as science, how dynamic it is, what happens after the experiment, why do we publish articles, what does that mean in terms of the scientific community and the general community, and things like that. So make sure to follow along, and the questions for this quiz actually go in order for the article. So you just go through and read, and then you answer these questions, click true or false, answer any blank questions, and then when you get to the very bottom, you hit save and submit, and that submits it to me for grading. So that's the second assignment. I'll exit out of those. And that one should take you anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to do. The third assignment is the inevitable evolution of bad science. So again, going through the process of not necessarily using the scientific method in a linear fashion. What does it mean to be dynamic and publish articles? Because those are going to be what we actually are bombarded with when it comes to social media and other websites. Now, the inevitable evolution of bad science is an article that you'll read, and it has questions to go with it right here. So now the questions that go with it, you can either type them on a Word document and submit that as a file. You can type that in a new journal response. It is entirely up to you on how or what you want to do with that. There are a few bigger vocabulary words in there, so I did include some definitions down here to make it easier for you. So just make sure that you take notes, and then make sure you support whatever stances or answers that you put. That's the key. So you'll notice as you go through my class, a lot of things say explain. That's how I give you points for the assignments that you complete, is by explaining yourself and making sure that you're supporting any answers you have with anything you read or any data that you have. If you want to look at the PDF file in a larger format, you'll notice they have the link down here, and it'll open the PDF file here for you, so it's larger. So that's the third assignment, and that one should take you anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It's a little bit longer because of the questions. And then the very last assignment that you're going to do, this is the fourth one, it's Can You Spot Bad Science? And this is going to be where you are going to look at articles that you're interested in or ones that students post. Now the discussion itself is already a thread, so this is going to be another example where you click into the discussion and then you can select this Can You Spot Bad Science? And that'll bring you into the thread. Now when you see this, don't be overwhelmed. It's information to help you follow in case you don't know where to go or what to do, or for students who just otherwise don't want to read or watch the videos that I'm making. And it's going to have information on what we're going to be doing. So for this assignment, you're going to be looking at articles and you're going to basically pick them apart. You're going to look at where did you find it? Who wrote it? What biases might they have? Do they have the education to be writing these articles? Do they have supportive stances? Do they have data? Do they have analysis? Where was it published through? So all those questions are valid questions that students should be answering or looking at when they're looking at scientific articles. Now there is a couple of guides that can help you. I included the PDF file called A Rough Guide to Spotting Bad Science. And it has 12 main keys or key points that you would look for if you're trying to figure out whether a science article might not be the most accurate or not. And then there's also the top 4 tips video that you can watch for spotting bad science reporting. And a lot of the articles that we do read nowadays is more in terms of science reporting versus actual scientific articles. So that's another reason why we need to make sure we know the difference. Now, when you get done using those or looking at those resources, the talking points for your discussion are as you see right here. There's 4 talking points that I want you to touch on. Now, if you are the first person to comment on the discussion, I have 2 posts or 2 articles below that you can choose. But ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to choose an article that a student has not done yet. So make sure you notice what students have completed and what they haven't. If you are the first person, you'll use the 2 that I posted. Once you figure out what article you're going to do, you're going to read through it and look at the article or the report in terms of 12 faults provided by A Rough Guide to Spotting Bad Science, which is that orange document that was above, and then the GLAD acronym that's from the YouTube video. So you're going to use those things to kind of help you pick apart whatever report or article you're using. And ultimately what I want to see is what article did you choose and who's the author? What was the article about? Try to be specific and concise. Does the article or study talk about variables used? Do they talk about independent or dependent variables? Do they talk about constants or controls? And we'll dive into those topics a little more in week 3, but they will usually, if they are included, we'll describe those for you. Is the website trustworthy? And how do you know? Does the author have any bias? What about the author's education background? If they're writing about geology, do they have a geology educational background? And then finding examples in the article that may or may not fit under the 12 faults or the GLAD acronym. So you're going to look and check out the article and see if there's any things that pop out to you. Does it have like a sensational title? Is it from an actual peer-reviewed journal? So this actual piece of the assignment is going to require you to look and actually take notes, think in depth, think about what is sticking out to you. Does the website have a bunch of ads? Does it have, again, a sensational title? Who's the author? Is it a conflict of interest, which is described in that document at the top? So all those things, I want you to put time and effort and some critical thinking into picking those apart. And one of the things that I can emphasize to help you the most is search. Don't be afraid to click on things. If you're looking at an article, click on links, search things throughout the search piece. You can Google the author and the website. You can do whatever it takes to find information. So don't be afraid to search and don't be afraid to dig. Once you're done looking at the article and gathering information, I want you to make sure you post that in your reply. So when you get this information for the talking point 2, you're going to hit this blue reply button, and that's going to come up with a response opening for you to fill out, just like this. And that's where you're going to type your information. I also want you to find 2 new news articles, whether they are something that you found in Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or social media or online or Google or in an email, wherever you find or have had an article that's claiming scientific evidence shared with you. Just find 2 and then include that in your post down here below all your information for talking point 2. And you can include a web address, you can include a file. It's entirely up to you how you want to include your articles. Just make sure that if students are going to use them, that they can access them and open them on their computer. If you need help with it, make sure to let me know. So that's the 3rd piece. So you got an article, you find information, and make sure you write that information down for everybody. You find 2 new articles, and then when you are done with that piece, the first 3 talking points, that's when you're going to submit your written piece, whether it's a Word document you upload or just a written submission text in this window here. Now I'm going to hit cancel because I didn't type anything, but you would hit submit. And then the 4th piece is commenting on another student's post. Now you don't have to do all of those in the same day. If you don't want to, you can come back and look at another student's post. But you should be looking at one of the 3 things listed below in when you type your comment. So see if you can catch any faults the student might have missed from the document or the YouTube video. Do you think the other student's article is good or bad, and why? And then if you have heard any information that contradicts what the article is saying, explain what. Some of the articles might be more mainstream, and you might have heard things that might be contradictory. That would be a good thing to include and say where you found it or where you heard it from. What is it? So make sure to comment on one other student's post, and you'll notice there are going to be more posts below this. These are my 2 articles for you. But again, you'll comment as a reply for that 4th talking point. If you want to look at an example, I took some time to make an example of what I'm talking about here. You can read my example to kind of see what I am looking for. Again, this should not be a short written paragraph. I do expect you to search into the article and just pull it apart, pick it apart like crazy. So make sure you have a decent post for that and you have well-written sentences and good evidence to kind of support what you're finding. And that's the last assignment. This is going to be the big assignment for week 1. And that one should take you approximately an hour to do. So make sure you leave time for that. And then lastly, to touch on, we have a week 1 optional honors assignment. You'll notice each week has an optional honors assignment folder. Some weeks don't, and that's intentional. However, it is not something you have to do. It's only if you're looking to get that honors with your grade at the end of the quarter. So again, 4 assignments for week 1. Kind of walked through what to expect with them. If you want to meet with me and collaborate and just work on them while you're sitting and collaborate, so you can ask me for help, feel free to do that. If you have any questions and you just want a brief answer, feel free to email me or text me. Otherwise, good luck, and then after this, we'll move on to week 2 when that opens.